My mother called, and I answered the phone. She said, there's been this horrific terror attack in Jerusalem, and it was on a bus, and I've been calling your father for 10 minutes, and he's not answering, and I know he was in the area. My father, ריצ'רד Lakin, was a kind, gentle man. He was a person who dedicated his life to education, to educating children, to teaching them to love and to respect. He had been on a bus 78 in Jerusalem, and two men had boarded the bus, two terrorists, and at a certain point, one of them stood up with a gun and started shooting people, and the other one stood up with a knife and started stabbing people. And he was shot in the head, along with two other men. And after he fell to the ground, they started stabbing him. He was stabbed everywhere. It was horrific, in the head, in the face, in the chest. The knife actually broke while it was inside of him. The damage was just beyond repair. And eventually his body couldn't hold out after 2 weeks, and he died in front of us.
I grew up something called refugee camp. While talking about a refugee camp, you are talking about the flow, the stereotype of hating Israel. Default impression against Israel is the hatred. But for me, maybe until the age of 21, I'm still following that flow and following that stereotype. Until something happened in my life that inspired me to think more critically and more deeply about the things and the matters around me. Because I discovered there is many lies. These messages are actually grown up with you, starting from your school, passing with the people around you, your authority, the media. A lot of things affect you this message. Sometimes that when you want to tell your kid about something evil, you kill him, the Jewish. Oh, sleep or the Jewish will kill you. Sleep or the Israeli come to kill you. So this is the impression that grows up with you. There is a monster called Israel, there is a monster called Jewish. After your high school and the universities and colleges, the only thing that they teach you about it is the hatred. Only hatred.
Horrific as it is, one of the terrorists who was shot by the police while in the act of stabbing my father was brought into the intensive care unconscious with my father, and he was treated 3 beds away from him by the same medical teams, and he survived. I actually watched him regain consciousness, and he opened his eyes. I had a very brief moment of anger for 2 or 3 minutes. All of the rest of the time, I was overcome with the feeling that you have to make something positive out of this. This is what my father, this is what he lived for, this is how he behaved naturally, this is how he educated me and my family, and my mother educated us.
Hatred just became, let's call it, part of your life. Everything is playing the role of the victim. I have to take it from my ancestors to the default enemy, which is Israel. This is like, what do you call it in English, like routine, like a sequence. I will give the hate order to my son. So this is something I'm against it. I'm against it. To always play the role of victim and to give the hate to the other generation.
The Palestinian Boy Scouts, or the Palestinian Scouts Association, recently renamed their scout leadership program after Aliyan, the terrorist who shot my father on the bus, because they, as they stated and they put on their webpage of the Palestinian Scouts Association, that this is the kind of leader we want you to become, and you should be a martyr like Aliyan. I think if my father would have seen all of this, this is what it would have focused on, is how children are being educated. They need to be educated to love and not to hate.
I start by asking questions. This actually would give me the critiquing way of thinking. Many bigger things I start to ask about it. Why I don't have the money to pay my tuition. Why I don't live the normal life that anybody should live. I realized that my authority is working against me. My authority, which actually utilized my name as a refugee to bring a lot of donations while giving me nothing, is an enemy for me. Each day you hear news that you have donations from the United States, from the European Union, even from the Arabs themselves. But indeed, you didn't see anything on ground. It was 3 times more than the financial support that given to Germany after the Second War. And look at Germany, and look at my case. While Germany is still accepting refugees, while I am still a refugee in my homeland. Because after 68 of conflict, it's a shame on the Palestinians to still refugees. I do believe that you have the humanity sense that actually make it like an obligation or like make it a duty to give. But you have to make sure to whom you're gonna give. If you give it to the wrong person, then your giving is worthless.
When you look at it, there's nothing to be gained from hating. People who hate, it just creates anger within, and it just eats them from within. And people who love feel good themselves. What seems to me the right thing to do, also in his memory, but also just because that's how he educated me, is to bring people's attention to this. Because if people aren't educating towards love on their own, then they need help from the outside to get there.
When I started thinking critically, now I'm thinking about many positive things that would change the life of people around me. I learned a lot of good behavior, just like the respect, to respect the other.
My name is Micah Avni. I'm an Israeli, and I choose love.
My name is Mo. I'm a Palestinian. I choose love.